Saturday is a weather alert day across the state of Florida. What's going on, guys? I'm certified meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, and in this video, we are going to talk about rounds of strong thunderstorms moving through basically the entire state of Florida. They're going to come in several different waves. We're going to break down each wave looking from a central Florida perspective, and then we're going to widen out to look at the entire state of Florida. We're also going to break down why we have been particularly active this week and why we are going to continue to stay active for Father's Day weekend. And then we will end the video. So stick around to the end of the video. We're going to break down the tropics. Big update from the Hurricane Center. Again, we are likely going to get a depression with that wave, that tropical wave way out near Africa. Again, still nothing to be concerned with, but we're likely going to have this thing develop post Father's Day. So we're going to break that down as well at the end of the video. Hey, before we get into it, if you do want to stay updated on all things hurricane season and all things Florida weather, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that, and please hit the thumbs up button if you're watching on YouTube. If you find this content informative, that would help us out a lot. Here's the deal for Saturday. Everybody highlighted in yellow, that level 2 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. Again, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, but most of the state of Florida is in that yellow color. For perspective, it's a heightened level up of where most of the state has been for the past few days. The environment's going to be even more conducive to producing rounds of stronger thunderstorms and more rounds of them. This is exactly what is going to happen, or at least this is what could happen. But here's the future radar. There we go at 8, 9 o'clock to start your Saturday. This is going to be a little different. There's going to be these little impulses, and I'll show you what I mean by impulses in just one second. But to start your Saturday through central Florida, look at this. We could have some nasty thunderstorms already. That's 8 to 10 o'clock, especially around and west of Orlando. Those purples and reds indicate where we could have some pretty intense thunderstorms. We get rid of round 1. Okay, round 2 comes in, and this is what I'm talking about, these different kind of waves. There's 4 o'clock for you with those scattered downpours. A few thunderstorms, again, could be strong through your early afternoon. And then there's another round. And the third round here of Father's Day weekend, Saturday night into Sunday morning, may end up being the strongest. Again, these little waves, 15 to 20,000 feet above your head, it's hard to kind of pinpoint when exactly they slide on through, so the exact timing's a little uncertain, so make sure you want to check back again with the forecast. But nonetheless, I do think here we are looking at a pretty decent environment for some nasty thunderstorms, potential for some damaging winds, lots of lightning, some hail potentially, although the hail won't be the main threat. And then also the chance for a couple of tornadoes as well as we move into Sunday morning. So again, note the time. Make sure you have a way to get warnings if they are issued Saturday night into early Father's Day morning. Again, things need to come together in a specific way to get storms to produce tornadoes. So we're going to be watching and fine-tuning that forecast. But again, it is in the realm of the possibilities early Sunday morning. I do think by Sunday afternoon, this is lunchtime, maybe not the best beach day. Note the clouds that kind of hang around, maybe a couple of showers left over. But I think for the most part, the rockin' storms are over with, other than just a few scattered storms that we will be dodging. All right, the reason why we've been so active is because of this big chunk of high pressure kind of anchored way out over South Texas and central Mexico. What that is doing is it's creating this big ridge of high pressure right here. And then there is this big dip in the jet stream out over the southeast corner of the United States. There's also kind of a stationary front draped right in here. And that has been helping to trigger these repeated storms in parts of the deep south and even back to the plains. What we have going on again into Saturday, note this orange and red color. Those are those little impulses. So the darker the red, the bigger the red, again, the stronger the little upper level vorticity, as we call it scientifically, but that little impulse slides through. So we have more of that coming through. There's 7, 8 o'clock on your Saturday, big high pressure there, and then you see that kind of dip in the jet stream, helping to kind of invigorate those storms, helping to get those storms going. So that little impulse rides down, helping to trigger more storms Saturday morning, afternoon, and then potentially, again, the biggest round Saturday night into Sunday. So because we've been so active, or why we've been so active, all because of that big chunk of high pressure, again, creating this little pattern just like that has all these little impulses that develop kind of riding right on through the deep south and then being forced down the Florida Peninsula, giving us all of those nasty thunderstorms. So from a wider view, you can kind of see how that plays out. So there's impulse number one early on Saturday through about lunchtime, creating those thunderstorms. And then you see that riding down again. There's 5 o'clock, more storms right smack dab to the center of the state, Fort Lauderdale, Miami under the gun, also again into the Florida Panhandle. And then look at things really fill back in. There's 11 o'clock for you on Saturday night. More storms coming through, and then that could be, again, the strongest round kind of pushing right down the peninsula. Going to be watching for several different modes of severe weather as we move through Saturday into early Sunday morning. Highs on Saturday through Central Florida, hanging around 90 degrees. It's going to be a little bit cooler anyway because of the extra cloud cover, because of the earlier start to the storms. It's still going to be very, very humid, of course, but nonetheless, it is going to be on the cooler side, relatively speaking. All right, so here is the latest update from the National Hurricane Center. We now have the red on the map. We have a 30% shot for development over the next 2 days. It's really going to be beyond that. So early next week, you see it there, a 70% shot to get this little wave that is rolled off of Africa to develop. This map right now looks a lot more like it should in August or September. Typically, the Cabo Verde season doesn't get underway until we get into August and September because we typically have a lot of wind shear out here. We typically have a lot of Saharan dust, and we do have a little bit of dust. But in this area, in this red that the Hurricane Center has highlighted, the wind shear is atypically low. There's a little dust out there, but not a lot. The water temperature is crazy, mid to upper 80s. It is way above where it should be. So the water temperature is behaving like August. So that is something we're going to keep an eye on. It does appear like this thing could get pretty strong. And when I say pretty strong, it's relative. Maybe tropical storm force, maybe a low-end hurricane. We'd actually be rooting for that because the stronger it gets out in here, the more likely it's going to be that it kind of follows that path and recurves out. So you want them to be strong way out in the main development region because they're going to have a tendency to feel the upper level features. And in this case, early next week into the middle of next week, there's going to be a little dip in the jet stream out there, and it's going to feel that tug, if you will, and it's going to want it to go out. If it stays weak, however, it's going to stay kind of this trajectory. So if you happen to be tuning in from Puerto Rico or a family or friends in Puerto Rico or the Caribbean islands, this is still something to be mindful of. Now, it could end up being a good thing because if it stays weak anyway, because we desperately do need rain in the Leeward Islands and in Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. We desperately need rain here. So if we had a weak system bring us some beneficial rain, that would be nice. So we don't want anything too strong. But again, if it does get on the stronger side, it is going to have the tendency to kind of work its way up, over, and then back out to sea. That was a very poorly drawn line, but you get my drift. Stronger, the better chance it is to feel that little trough and then recurve out. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, be safe this weekend if you're celebrating. Be weather aware. I know everybody likes to tune out the weekend and just hang out. It's a great time to do that, of course, and unwind. Pinpoint weather app, great tool to have to track those storms right to your phone and to get any alerts. Again, it could be rocking at times Saturday into Sunday morning. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.